Hey guys, Mr. Thibodeau here. So we talked a little bit about this last time, about how Martin Luther is going to essentially have this huge impact on changing the church landscape, right? He says every person should be able to read the Bible themselves, and that the church is corrupt. And, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't the only one saying that. We had a number of people within the church as well saying that. My man, Desiderius Erasmus, and others who were talking about that. Now, Martin Luther goes so far as to make this discussion, this controversy, public, and that was really embarrassing to the church. So that is really why the church starts to come down really heavily on him. But when he does not recount, and instead he goes and finds some German kings who are more than happy to break with the Catholic Church. Because remember, the German kings in the beginning were some of the people who wanted more power for their kingdom and did not like the power sharing that was happening with the Catholic Church. So he's going to find common ground there, and that's going to give him the protection he needs to start a brand new church and to create new church concepts. Now, when this happens, the Catholic Church, instead of figuring out, oh, we were wrong, we should come together, we should, preach what, practice what we preach, they go ahead and decide to get really violent about it. And, they're not the only ones who are going to get violent about it. The Martin Luther crowd, the Protestants, are also going to get really violent about it. Because there's nothing says Jesus' love quite like a bunch of swords and arrows. So the Counter-Reformation happens. This is where Catholic Church goes really hard and really serious about trying to stamp out this break in the church. And so they are going to have they're going to say that everything else that's not part of our church is heresy, denial of the church's teachings. The word heresy is against the church's teachings. If you hear the word blasphemy, that means that's against God. Okay, so blasphemy is saying like there's a problem with God. Heresy is saying there's a problem with the church. Okay, so the church originally has this meeting, this Council of Trent, that is going to meet and try and talk about and figure out what to do with Martin Luther. And unfortunately, they're going to have some pretty rough sort of results. They're not going to go about it with a peaceful manner. So we also see they did start to eventually they are going to start to do gentler methods to broaden its appeal, but I think it's too little too late, and also there's a bunch of other more violent things that are happening as well. Desiderius Erasmus is kicked from the church as well at this point, which is unfortunate because he really wanted to stay in the Catholic Church. We also see the foundation of the Jesuits. Jesuits are the Catholic group that I most connect to myself. The Jesuits their tagline is "Warriors for Christ," but their thing is all about using, and he called himself Superior General, but for the greater glory of God and fighting. But it's not a warrior fighting. The Jesuits are all about fighting through teaching. We will fight ignorance. We will teach people. We will give them knowledge. So that's their whole deal. So their whole deal was, to fight to end ignorance. So it's kind of a cool concept, at least, well, of course I think so. But, that's my bias there. Now, that's not to say that they don't do terrible things. Unfortunately, many missionaries are going to do some pretty awful stuff to the native folks when they get there. Sometimes they do great stuff. Other times, unfortunately, they do some bad things as well, especially what we're going to see here in the Americas, where if you are not following the tenets of Christianity and Catholicism, they're going to suffer. They're going to do some pretty serious stuff to you. The Jesuits were less about that than some of the others, but they weren't immune to it. Unfortunately, it's that concept of us versus them, where we are the good guys, they are the bad guys. And the Jesuits and the missionaries were trying to turn the them into an us, but they did that through some pretty tough ways. So the missionaries went about. We also see political effects, and we see more nation states begin to emerge. We see these concepts of nationality really start to become more of a thing. So it's not just we're all Catholic, but we're English, we're German, we're French. It starts to become more and more of a concept. The states that we know of and think about really didn't exist at this point, but they start to form up in this way. And that's it. That's our work. So go ahead and answer the questions and have yourselves a good time. Bye.